It's mornings like this, when you're scraping the ice off your windscreen, you start to plan your summer cruise. Oh. And when planning our summer cruise, most of us will do it on an electronic chart plotter these days. So today, in this video, we're going to look at electronic chart plotters. I'm going to get a cup of coffee. Since the year 2000, the population of the world has been able to access timing signals broadcast from a network of US military satellites called the Global Positioning System, or GPS. You can triangulate your position using those timing signals and you'll know exactly where you are anywhere on the Earth. Feed that information into a suitable electronic chart plotter and you can see your position relative to other objects on the chart. Aboard Confidence, we have two separate chart plotters. One is a self-contained unit used by the helmsman so we can always see where the boat is. The second is a laptop, which lives down below on the chart table, and that's used for route planning. As it's just a normal Windows laptop, it can run a variety of different software packages, and in this video, we're going to look at 3 of them. First, we'll look at Navionics, the web app. Accessed using a browser, it's free, and you can download it on your Android or Apple device, although some features do need to be paid for. Second, we're going to look at Open CPN, which is an open source plotter that can be installed on Windows, Mac or Linux machines. It's free and most of the charts in the world are free, but in the UK you have to buy a charting pack. And then finally we'll look at Seapro 3000, which is a professional, fully paid for, installed piece of software. When planning a passage, there's no better way than using a large-scale paper chart, referring to your pilot book and your tidal stream atlas. You can see the whole route from A to B. But you have to be able to transfer all that information onto your electronic charts. And that's quite a big job. And how you do it is by using routes. So let's look at creating routes on electronic chart plotters. The first piece of software we're going to look at is the Webapp by Navionics. And it's without doubt my favourite armchair sailor planning tool. To get to it, we open our favourite browser and type in the address webapp.navionics.com and then sign in to your account. If you don't have an account, you can sign up and accounts are free. With a left click and a roll of the mouse wheel and you've zoomed in exactly where you want to really quickly. In each of these evaluations we're going to create a route, and with this one I'm going to share a picture of my mouse so you can see how easy it is to click. I was struggling a little because I've taped the mouse cable down to keep it in shot, but you'll get the picture. Anyway, let's start at East Head, literally one left click and then another left click and then another, and so on as we head out of Chichester Harbour. Left click and hold to scroll the screen. Quick left click to record a waypoint. And just use the scroll wheel a little bit to zoom out. Little more click and hold. And scroll back in again. You get the picture, so I'm just going to jump forward a little bit. And we're laying a few waypoints to come into Cowes Harbour. So as I zoom in close, I realise my waypoint's just a little bit off. So let's edit it. One click, and drag, and let go. And that's it, done. Do the same again with this waypoint. But then I've realised that there's quite a lot of distance between waypoint 7 and 8. So let's add a couple of extra waypoints to follow the voyage. Hover over the line and it turns to a plus. Click on it and drag and drop, same as always. So that's it, the last one, and now our route follows the voyage. You should always plan a route from berth to berth, so we need to zoom right into Cowes Harbour and add the waypoints right into the marina entrance. And in this case, our choice of destination is Cowes Yacht Haven. So let's name the route. Call it my route. And hit save. And then zoom out for an overview. Now I mentioned this app was available on Android and Apple, and here's the iOS version. If we look at the selected routes, we'll see my route, the one that I just stored on the PC, available now on the phone. So we planned it at home on the computer, and now we're able to zoom in and out on the mobile device. We can use the device as gesture control, double tap to zoom in, or we can use the plus and minus buttons on the screen. Of course, we can zoom in and find out information on each feature on the chart, and in the case of Marina, you click on it and get the Marina contact details. Give them a call and book your berth. So next up is Open CPN. It's an open source, free to download and free to use, but in the UK, due to copyright laws, we have to buy some charts. The ones I have here are scans of real charts in terms of moving around, and the rules of engagement are the same as the Navionics. Left click and hold to drag, mouse wheel to zoom in and out. Now, because these are scanned charts, when you go between zoom levels, the software selects a chart which has an appropriate scale to the appropriate zoom levels. The row of purple bars on the bottom of the screen represent all the different charts available in the portfolio that you're looking at. Even with quite a high-spec machine, rendering the chart images makes the user experience quite a lot slower and more clunky. Of course, if you zoom into the most detailed chart you have, and then zoom in even further, you'll get an overzoom warning, which is now in the top left of the screen. You can usually tell you've zoomed in too far because the text doesn't look very clear at that zoom level. So we found our start point at East Head. So we go to the main menu and we create a route, and we're given a pencil. And then just as before, it's a left click to make a mark. But this one shows you the line you're creating until you get to the second mark, and then again left click and left click and left click. One little problem that arises is when you want to move the screen but you've still got the cursor waiting to drop its next mark, and so if you try and drag the image around, you end up leaving a mark accidentally. So then what you've got to do is you've got to right click to get the menu up, and then you can get rid of the waypoint. Right, let's zip across to cows and do some waypoint editing. Same as before, select your waypoint with your left click and drag it and move it, and then left click again to drop it. Now to insert those waypoints, it's a little bit more complex. We have to right click and get the insert waypoint tool, insert the waypoint, and then we can drag it and move it around. So if we want to have a look at our route to see how long it's going to take and how long each leg is, we can have a look at the route manager. Now this is a normal installed software platform, so we can't transfer this route data to another device using our user account like we could with the Navionics, but we can print it out. In the SOLAS regulations that apply to pleasure vessels, it says, prior to proceeding to sea, the master shall ensure that the intended voyage has been planned using the appropriate nautical charts and publications for the area concerned. So it's a legal requirement to have a passage plan. It's a common sense one too, plus the fact the batteries won't die on your piece of paper. It's got to be worth paying for a piece of software that has an opening sting like that. Right then, last but by no means least, Seapro 3000. Moving around the charts on this piece of software is the same as it is with the other two. Left click and drag, and zoom in with the mouse wheel. Now the chart pack with Seapro is Euronav's own live charts, which are high quality vector charts. This means the image doesn't get worse if you overzoom, but it can't show you detail that doesn't exist on the chart. So when using any electronic chart, you must be cautious when you're viewing at high zoom levels. This software uses a toolbar which is accessed from the main menu, and it automatically generates a date and timestamp as a file name when you're storing your route. Although of course you can rename it, my route. It also changes the data recording log so your file names match. There's a full log and route file manager available which can be exported. Click on your Add Waypoint button and click on where you want the waypoint to be added. This one uses the same technique as Open CPN in that you hold the line, manoeuvre the screen, and then left click to lay down the next waypoint. When you get to the edge of the screen, you do get this blue arrow that allows the screen to move in the direction you want it to. To be fair, Open CPN does that as well, but because of the graphics lag, it doesn't work effectively. Same process as the other two. You zoom out, you drop your waypoint, you move around the screen until you've built the route in the way that you want it. And there we are, we've got to the same point as we have with the other two previous ones. So, time to edit our cow's entrance waypoint, and you go into the edit waypoint button, grab hold of it, drag it, and drop it down again. To insert a waypoint, again you go to the tool, you press the insert waypoint button, you insert it with the mouse, you drag it, you drop it. So far then, we've not really seen very much that differentiates these three pieces of software. And apart from the impressive music at the beginning, why would you want to pay for this one when the other two are essentially free? Well, if we press this little cog button, we'll find out. The two previous pieces of software displayed a comprehensive list of the details of the passage plan, just like this one. But this one has an extra trick up its sleeve. If you select the time and date and then press the Show Graph button, Seapro calculates the best time to leave accounting for the tide. Here we can see that if we leave at 1:30 in the morning, our journey will take significantly less time. It works out the tidal streams for the duration of your journey based on its own internal tide tables, and then forecasts your progress based on your average boat speed, which you can customise for each leg. Its ability to recalculate your plan halfway through a journey can be invaluable. If you're sailing and the wind dies and you slow right down, or perhaps you're in a powerboat and you make much better progress because it's flat calm, but if you arrive too early, there won't be enough water to get over the bar. Let's print out the route and see what it looks like on paper. We'll start with the Open CPN printout. Got your leg, got your waypoint, your position of the waypoint, course to steer to the waypoint, and distance to the waypoint. Now the Seapro printout, that shows the tidal data as well. We've got the drift and the set and the variation of that set for the duration of the leg. Gives us a calculated course to steer and an estimated time of arrival at the next waypoint. You input your expected boat speed, in this case 5 knots, and it gives you a tidal gain, and this leg's got minus 10%. So the tide is against us by 10% of 5 knots, which is half a knot, leaving us with 4.5 knots of speed over the ground. Now the problem with these printouts is they're missing one vital piece of information. The waypoints are just arbitrary numbers. In fact, they're not strictly speaking waypoints at all. They only exist within this route in the software, and they should probably be called route points. When you're at sea, it would be very easy to assume you've reached point 7, when in fact you've only got as far as point 6. Whereas, if the points had names, or a note describing what to look for, the list would be much more useful. You'd see that you were looking for a red port-hand buoy named the North Ryde Middle, and as you passed it, you could confirm you're in the right place, and confidently set a course for the next leg. So let's have another look at the software and see how we can fix that problem. Let's take a look at how we can add a waypoint in Open CPN. Right-click to get the menu and drop mark. Left-click to select and right-click to look at properties, and we can give it a name. Horse Sand Fort. We can also change the icon and how it's displayed on the chart, and add a description, which will appear on the printout. Stone Fort, 61 metres wide, and then OK. So let's add that into our route. We right click and go to append waypoint, and then we get our pencil. Our next waypoint's going to be the fort, so we click on that, and this time we get a message asking us if we want to use a nearby waypoint. Yes, of course we do. And similarly with this waypoint here and this waypoint here. So if we have a look at the waypoint manager, let's look at the properties of my route, and there's the dialog box. So let's just open it out, and we can now see some descriptions giving us details about each waypoint and the all-important name, so we can identify each mark as we pass it. Let's print that out and see what it looks like. And there we have a much more comprehensive printout with a good description of what we're looking for and a way to identify it when we get there. So let's do Seapro, and we go to the waypoint menu and we add a waypoint, and then we go to where we want the waypoint to be, perhaps zooming in a little bit, and we call it Horse Sand Fort. Okay. We are going to show the route toolbar, and we're going to add named waypoints. And you get the option of using the list or the chart. We're going to go for the chart, so we're going to go winner, and then we're going to go Horse Sand Fort, and then we're going to go, and then if we then have a look at the plan, you'll see then that all the new ones here have got that. So in conclusion, which is the best? Well, to be honest, they've all got good things and bad things going for them. You've got the Navionics with its super quick navigation, intuitive, simple to use user interface, and the ability to integrate with your smartphone or tablet. This software's perfect for the day boater or someone who's chartering. I mean, why struggle with a piece of electronic equipment you're not familiar with when you can bring your own with your route already loaded on? Then there's Open CPN, which is free to use, and because it's open source, it's constantly been developed and improved. And apart from the graphics delays, which is only really due to the type of chart I was using, it's a fully featured and very powerful piece of software. And finally, you've got the professional package Seapro 3000. So in addition to the standard features that it shares with Open CPN and other plotters, this has multi-monitor support, allowing you to display different information on different screens. It also has radar integration. So with a suitable radar unit, you can have radar as a separate screen or as an overlay onto your chart, which is the reason I purchased it. There is a cost investment, but that's traded off with the extra features that you don't get in Open CPN. So there you are, electronic chart plotting in a nutshell. A very, very high level and high speed overview of the techniques that you might use in electronic chart plotting. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our videos.